Of course, as you might imagine, Lee Sedol is a little bit of an aggressive player, so you can have a pretty good idea what kind of game to expect here. Should also expect, if you have been paying attention to my lectures for any length of time, I don't typically go over really crazy stuff like Tengen and 6-4s and, what is it, Great Walls and a whole bunch of that other weirdo stuff that I don't like. I do like the subtle style, that is, I completely agree with you there. I kind of miss Lee Cheng-ho's old style, though. When I was first learning how to tell direction of play and how to fight, how to pick my fights, his early games were so helpful because he had this style where he wasn't afraid to just give his opponent what he wanted and still turn it into his favor, and I absolutely loved that. So, kind of feel bad that we don't really see that these days. I mean, when I tell a student of mine who might be, somewhere between 10 and 5Q, what game should I learn to study direction, it's really difficult to pick a modern game now because they're all bloodfests from start to finish. So I really wish we still had some of those games. But I do like violence now. And Lee Sedol does come through admirably there. But alright, reasonable game, reasonable opening here. Excuse me. We have potential for enclosures. We can approach here as black. A lot of different options. Impossible to tell which one he's going to do. Yep, both are pros. Black chooses to enclose high. Don't see that too often. Usually I see low or large. Well, not low or large. Small or large is what I meant to say. But this is still fine. Perfectly fine move. With this move, though, it's so interesting, the difference in what we tend to want to do here with just a high enclosure versus a low small enclosure. If we see something like this, we know, okay, low stone right here, right? Probably not interested in expanding along the bottom side. Instead, I just started, don't worry. Instead, he's probably aiming to expand along the top side. So that's where I'm going to focus my efforts, reducing, this area in here, making sure that he can't completely develop it. With the high enclosure, a little bit of difference there, Since this is a high stone, we can completely validate a extension, get rid of these 2 marks, an extension along the bottom, because we're going from a high stone to a low stone, which is fine, rather than a low stone to a low stone, which is flat and unappealing. So he can extend along the bottom. He can extend along the right-hand side as well. So we've got choices here. White decides, I'm going to prevent you extending along the bottom, which is perfectly fine. And I'm going to also develop this little, I don't really want to call it a Kobayashi, but it kind of is. Because of that K4 stone. I have to be a little careful in approaching it. Because we approach it without thinking. Yeah, but I'm so hesitant to actually call that a mini Kobayashi. Because it just sounds weird. I don't think there's as much strategy involved with something like that than there is with the mini Chinese, for example. So I don't want to give it its own name and imply that this is its own Fuseki. But yeah, we approach a little bit farther away. If we approach too close, if you're familiar with the Kobayashi, then all you have to do is, attach. And at that point you've got a wall and you're using it immediately. So, good for you. Or if you wind up getting pincered here with a more aggressive player, well, again, simple to develop an attack at the same time. A lot of things you can do. Black says, nope, I'm going to give that the wide area it deserves. I thought Kobayashi did a one spin, yeah. Can do that, yeah. I usually just attach and be happy with what I'm developing. Could do that. Could do this. Not many really good responses here. Can't really jump in the bottom. Don't want to push out. I guess we're going to pincer, but that's going to get cut through, and again we're using a wall with an extension. That's good for white. So he's giving it the respect it deserves. If he approaches too close, variations start to get a little bit muddled, kind of dangerous, don't want to do it. So white has to decide, what am I going to do? Am I going to go for territory? Am I going to go for influence? Very, very important. The minute we actually learned back when we were, I don't know, a 20Q, the difference between the third and the fourth line, it really does come up in all of our games. A lot of people here say, you know, which one should I do here? And it's really up to you. Which one do you want? Do you want territory? Do you want influence? You know how to find those. If you want influence, you're probably not going to be playing a third line stone. If you are going to be wanting to make influence and get something really, really large here, then you'd probably play fourth line. If you want territory, then you're probably not playing fourth line. It's such, yeah, it's a really, really, really obvious thing, and we've all heard it pretty much the minute we actually began learning how to play Go. But the implications of understanding the third and fourth line differences, it's really so important and so basic that you have that completely understood. Because a lot of questions in games will come down to not having any idea what those were. You never asked yourself, or you never evaluated the board correctly that, oh, well, all those third line stones means he's going for territory and I can keep that low and get influence, or, you know, things like that. Yeah, I haven't seen many of his games, though I think I've actually gone over another one of his before in my lecture, so I think his name has been coming up a bit. There is another player, a Chinese player, whose name is also coming up a bit. I tend to do a lecture on maybe one or two of his games in the future. Hello. So white says, I just want territory here. So black says, fine, I'll give a base for myself. Again, low stones. We can keep this low if we want to, or we can attack it and give it a shape. Or attack it and get forcing moves. Force to defend itself. White chooses to force the defense. So black says, okay, I'll protect. White defends. So black has Sente. Don't have to respond here again. Got a bit of a base here. Not behind enemy lines. So we can go and play something else. Yeah, usually you do see the poke. That is true. Here, I'm not entirely certain why he didn't. I have a couple of ideas. I think he's actually worried that his opponent might separate this stone since he's strong in the right-hand side. Though I can't imagine not connecting and trying to do that. Like, a move like this, for example, would seem like it's large. I mean, you are cutting off that stone, but that cut-through is just huge. I can't imagine this. I mean, we can play here and do this. I don't think there's anything lost by playing here. But he didn't poke. Why? I'm not entirely certain. I guess he wants to save the Aji for later. But black has Sente now. So he can play a couple of large moves. There are a lot of them on the board. We can come in, we can approach, we can extend, we can extend, we can enclose. A lot of different moves here. You like F-17. Yeah, trying to make a framework on top of the board is not too bad. K17 also pretty reasonable. I'm actually going to go over F17 briefly. Black decides to enclose, we'll get to that in a second. If you do play a move like F17 though, you should probably expect D17 as a reply. I don't think, I'm not going to say I don't think anyone, but most people aren't going to play this because they feel that this variation is a bit over-concentrated for white. Whereas we can be greedy here and invite you to come on in. Because now we can simply attack a stone that's now being pincered. Bit of an aggressive play, but possible. Black plays a real steady move. Makes it a little bit harder for white to extend on top. Makes it really good to extend on the right. For himself, that is. Too good, in fact. Not E17. E17. Oh, in regards to, F17? You mean? Yeah, generally not. This is really, really good for, black being able to get the wall and extend. Am I not thinking? Sorry, am I missing something? As my response. Yeah, okay, that is what you're saying. And the 3-3 is still available too. Yeah, right. Corner's still up for grabs. Because if we actually jump in there, go away. We can't just say, I'm gonna, kill this outright. Because, that's pretty much living. Oh, I'm sorry, is my mic noisy? Is my mic actually noisy? Because this KGS is telling me that I'm barely transmitting. Which is why I turned myself up. Lots of fuzz. Alright. Well, a lot of people are saying that it's not, so I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna go with it. Because when I stop speaking, KJS is saying that nothing's coming out of my microphone. And those of you who are watching on YouTube can see it right here. This is what this little bar is. You can see it doesn't move. Anyway, moving on. So, what was I saying? Oh, right. So the extension on the right-hand side now. No, I don't have a stream on YouTube, but I will be uploading it later, so yeah. So the extension here for black right now is very, very large. He's got enclosures on the upper right-hand corner and the lower right-hand corner. So white wants to stop that immediately. It's like, no, 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 no. You are not getting extensions for both your corners at once. That is too good for you. I'm going to put an end to that immediately. But here's an interesting direction to play move. How do we decide how to respond from this? Because everybody knows that there's two options available to you. You can approach from below and you can approach from above, but how do we make the decision? Tudon says, let's play R8. Alright, why are we playing R8? Wow, everyone's liking R8. Ooh, I like it when this happens. Oh, I absolutely love it when that happens. Everyone likes R8. Alright, Kago is going to be... yeah, why R8? Why R8? Because O17 is there? Corner's enclosed anyway. Extension towards R4 ruins its influence. Not really understanding if you guys are giving me a good reason for R8. Okay. Alright, we have a sequence here. R8, R13, R15, then kick it. Okay, okay. Black chooses to play B. But I see what you're saying. Extend, and then you can play this, and then do that. Alright, yeah. But black is aware of one thing on the board right now. He knows that there's one large point left unobtained by either player, and that's the star point at the top. So he's going to play this variation, which is going to force the two-space extension, because, white doesn't want to die. And he's going to immediately attack and keep him low, like we were saying earlier. If your opponent's on the third line, well, interesting thing about that is you can play fourth line moves to keep him low. And they're going to have to be responding to, otherwise cut straight through. That's no good. So white responds, and black's going to connect over. Because white isn't horrible, he's going to push through and not play something like this that I sometimes see, and that I must tell you guys to stop doing. This is not good. I mean, you can see immediately this is not good shape. You haven't completely killed a stone yet. We don't have... Yeah, I see this at Dawn level 2, and it horrifies me every single time. This shape is really, really terrible. You don't have a solid base yet until you actually play a move like S9. You haven't completely killed off the Q8 stone, and you're just giving your opponent an insane amount of influence. If your opponent does that to you, just start giggling because the game just went well for you. So, black's left to defend. White's getting a solid base for himself. This stone is not one that we typically want to run away because there's too much Aji. Instead, we're going to play nice and strong and get ourselves solid influence. Now, here's something that usually we want to do. We usually immediately want to play P7. Not quite, and I'll show you why later. Usually, immediately we want to play P7 to ensure that we're nice and alive. That unlike the previous shape, we've got our base, which can't be gotten rid of, even by another move by black, unlike in the other variation. Here, for example. If black gets another move here, we can see that that's a problem. Here, there's no one move black can play to ruin our ability to actually get an eye down here. Right. He is getting the influence. The difference is that we're not under attack still. But instead of playing P7, white breaks away and encloses because he didn't want to extend here and allow the approach, because this is now enormous. Now it doesn't matter what our opponent responds with. Sure, go ahead, take the corner. I don't care. I'm going to jump out too. Now you can even take that fourth line territory for yourself. Why not? And then suddenly the entire top is one gigantic moyo of doom that we didn't really want to deal with. So that's a problem. No, we can't really say black would win from this, but it wouldn't surprise us if he did. So instead of that, he says, nope, no, I am not doing that. I'm going to make it difficult for you to make something over there. I'm going to take my enclosure. You can't extend across the board. Now you can only do it to the star point, which black immediately does. Otherwise, why did we get all of this influence? If we don't actually have this, then problem. If we can't actually use this, we have a problem. We should have gone with the other territorial response that everyone else wanted to do instead of R12. This is more of a territorial decision. Pushing up from here and then just taking our corner. Allowing white to live. This is a territorial variation. This is a greedy variation. So black's going to try and get as much here as he can. White approaches the corner, putting a fair amount of pressure on it. Problem with high enclosures is that it is open. Don't really want to ignore this because otherwise we're going to get maybe a stone thrown down at Q3 maybe? That's getting uncomfortable. Kind of surrounded too. Don't like that. On the other hand, we don't want to just like play a move like P2 and hope to live there. Well, that's not going to be much of a hope. You will live with P2. But you're giving away Sente, it's a small move. Instead, Lee Sedol decides to be Lee Sedol and attacks. It's like, I'm going to settle this way by putting pressure on your group because you didn't extend. Nice decision. White says, that's fine, I can still live here pretty easy. I'm going to. Now this is an interesting move. Because if you don't back off, and if you do this instead, can you kill S12? Yes. Yes, you can. That's pretty dead. We can definitely Atari and capture that. No doubts about it. But then you're leaving a whole lot of other things, like the Atari here. If we extend, suddenly we've got a group with 3 liberties, a group with 2 liberties. This is getting a little bit complicated. There's still the Atari. There's just a whole lot of ugliness going on here. So he says, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to respond nice and strong. You're still not quite alive yet. I don't mind. You're just making it impossible to live in my corner, because with this exchange, you're never going to try and pull off an invasion like this anymore, now are you? Or here, or here, or here. I mean, none of that's going to be working anymore. So, that's fine. I'm just turning that all into solid territory. White does extend. Obviously, you're going to connect now, otherwise White gets to live locally and still extend out into the middle? That's not good. No, 3-3 will not work on this board. Let's go elsewhere. Let's say you said, okay, 3-3 time! Well, there's so many different moves that you can play to kill this right now. I think I'm going to play one, but I'm pretty certain that, yep, I'm pretty certain that you could still kill it with this, maybe this, though that gets a little bit difficult. Or, truthfully, you could probably kill it even with D17. S17, I've never read out before, but maybe. Q15 too. No idea. I don't think so. Anyway. Black connects. White extends again, thus surrounding the corner. Black needs to make sure he's nice and strong. So he decides to do something a little bit crazy. He actually crosscuts here. Now usually the general rule of thumb is when do we crosscut, and that I think I heard quoted by someone, I don't know who, is when we don't know when we're doing what we're doing. But here he's just trying to crosscut because he wants strength. If he can keep those 3 stones in the middle separated, that's pretty cool. Oh, is that Yang? Alright. In this instance, it's not because he doesn't know what he's doing. In this instance, he just wants Sente moves. If he can cut off those 3 stones in the center, along with the Moyo he currently has, that's really, really good. So White says, haha, I am going to jump into your corner. Now what are you going to do? You're going to defend, aren't you? Yes, you are. But Black says, no, that's really not what I'm trying to do here. I'm kind of trying to envelop the entire board with my influence. You can have a corner, though, if you like. And White says, really? Okay, thank you very much. Don't mind if I do. Because if we played here... I mean, do we live? Sure. But now there's really no danger of, you know, those stones getting cut off. We're gonna live, but this is not interesting at all, is it? This, on the other hand, is much more interesting. We've got a potential attack. Though, I have to tell you, playing in this fashion takes either insane amounts of reading, insane amounts of luck, or insane amounts of stupidity. Because right now, you are kind of going after something you can't even see. You have the idea. You understand the basics. Like, if I can cut this off and if I have a framework, I should be able to profit here. But actually risking the game on this kind of an idea takes so much. Either, you know, luck, stupidity, or bravery. One of the two. Or, you know, reading, sorry. It's really, really difficult to make that decision in your game. Usually, I bet you're going after influence every last time. You're going to choose to live in the corner, rather than play out a variation like this. So I love seeing this kind of play by Lee Sedol. So I give up my corner for this idea that I can attack later in the game? Sure, why not? Why wouldn't I? So White is really making it uncomfortable for Black now. Threatens to kill, or come out. You get to choose. White says, I'm living in your corner. What are you going to do about that? White says, I'm going to Hane. And make something really, really interesting here. This seems insane. He just completely surrounded himself. If he's wrong about this, it's instant game over because that's a lot of death. Indeed, Ukasus, indeed. But right as you think Black might be about to die, he cuts. Another one of those devious crosscuts. Surely he has no idea what he's doing. But he does. It's actually a really brilliant move. Because how are you going to respond to this? Yeah, indeed. Right, Q2. We can play Q2. That is true. We don't, but you can. Problem is, are you actually able to separate word? Are you actually able to separate Black? Because if you Atari, and we connect, and we threaten to Atari, we can't cut through there, can we? That's self-Atari, that doesn't work. And then that's Atari, and that doesn't work either. So there's nothing we can do here. Really, really awesome move by Black. He read out the situation perfectly. He's like, okay, you're going to live there. How are you going to respond to my Hane? Oh, you're going to respond by defending. Okay, that means I'm connected and there's nothing you can do about it. It says, I'm connecting. It says, no, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Ha ha, yes, I am. Oops, wrong one. There we go. So, Black connects. Yep. He obviously read it out. He knows that there's no way to disconnect him. Excuse me. So black puts more pressure on the middle. Looks like we're getting exactly what we want so far. We've sacrificed our corner. To be fair, it's a lot of territory for white on the right-hand side. He managed to get into your corner. He managed to get out of your corner, connecting all of his groups up, making sure he's nice and settled. His bottom is getting kind of sort of destroyed. But you can still make territory there. It's salvageable. But more importantly, we've got a weak group of his in the middle now. White's move 07, that's... Alright, I see what you're saying there. Because if he plays that, you're getting ready to Hane. Okay, I see what you're going for with that one. Instead, he decides to get out of here. If we play... Oh, wait, 07 you said? Wait a minute, I have no idea what you were saying now. This? Bad shape, you don't really accomplish much. Because here, black's gonna defend, get good shape, and now you still have to defend somehow. So, yeah. Really? You want to continue this? Why? Oh, okay. Whew. Worried me there for a minute. Oh, first, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. If white... Wait a minute, am I ruining a tree? No, I'm not. Alright, good. If black goes after this, then we can just laugh and kill this. I see. That's what you're going after. But what happens if we play this way? Still a problem, and now we have liberty shortages, I guess. So it still strikes me as a bit of a not a good thing to do. Instead, say forget the 3 stamps, I'm getting out of here with these. Ladder, sure, fine, ladder, but look, oh, sorry, see if I can do this without moving my mouse again. You can see where it's going, and those of you who can't are currently, well, if you're looking at this on YouTube, I just traced it out for you. You see it doesn't work, it goes to here. Those of you who cannot see it, it goes up in the upper left-hand corner. So we can extend this. Well, since that doesn't work out, get to keep profiting on the bottom, ruining what white wanted down there, while white tries to fix himself in the middle. Now, I'm going to ask a question here that's specifically for Qs. There is a move here that I would expect almost every Q player to try to defend with. Congratulations, Kago. You instantly knew what I was looking for. Yup. Was very, very obvious. You would look at this and you would say to yourself, I can defend this in so many ways. Trouble is, the thing about this particular connection is it leaves, let's say, 1,000,000 peeps. I mean, we can play here, threaten to cut, and I guess you're going to connect at that point. We can play here and threaten to cut through you, and I guess you're gonna connect again. And at this point, you just have this hope that you can still get through here, but depending on the situation, even that might start to fail. Or white will just start following you, and you'll realize, oops, I can't really get past that very effectively. So we don't want to make that shape, and white doesn't want to make that shape. So he does the bamboo joint. But isn't there a cut? Yes, there is. There's a cut, and remember where it goes. It goes to white stones. So it's not a problem with that ladder. So black is not going to cut. He's going to peep. But because we didn't play crazy shapes, he only has the one. Black or white tries to go get some shape. Also en ten cente. True, and tennis sensei. White plays Hane. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, that would work too because of that. True, 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 true. I'm gonna point that out for those who can't see it. Um, well, actually, huh. You know, maybe I don't like the net. I mean, if we cut and we tried to, you know, threaten these stones, I might just say, oh well. I mean, these can be cut, but yeah, this is really bad. Now we have an attack here. I don't think I like that at all now. Okay, net first. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think I like the easier solution. I like the easier solution much better. It's nice, it's simple, it's easy to read, there's nothing odd happening here. No need for fancy footwork like, haha, if you cut me, I can do this, and I can do that, and I can go over here. No. Like, I'm just gonna ladder you and you're gonna die. So, Black Hane. White's getting forcing moves. Now that he's all nicely connected up, can't give up these stones. They're worth a lot. Gives up a few stones in exchange for being able to cut through these offending ones of blacks that are holding us back. White has the Atari, but keep in mind, White is just trying to live. So Black just makes some territory for himself. White, of course, takes. Black fixes. And now he's pretty much got the upper right-hand corner as territory. It's not really a Moyo anymore. We kind of passed that point. This is not so much a Moyo as solid territory, which is a good thing that he has solid territory, because keep in mind what White has. White's got solid territory here, he's got solid territory here, which is anchored now to his corner, that he gave up for this. The top is still development of White's. I mean, where's... Oh, I really want one button to completely get rid of every mark. Please, implement it. Alright, there we go. Where does Black have, on the other hand? If he didn't have this, if this was still a Moyo, we'd be able to count like this as territory and not much else because it could be reduced. The bottom and the left. And then he'd have like thickness or something. So it's really, really good that this is all turning into points. I press pass, then it ruins the tree. So, White's move. Threatens connection. Whoops, there we go. Threatens connection. Black connects. Threatens reduction. What Black happily drops down. Sente moves. Annoying, but nothing we can do about him. Makes an exchange, and then solidifies his territory. Black immediately takes. Pretty large point. If White doesn't defend, we can keep eating him apart. Instead, White says, no, I'm going to try and get my territory down here now. Salvage what I can from this. Okay. There's a cut point there. Don't want to be cut, so we're going to protect. Sure, no problem. This is probably a time Suchi. Forcing move like that looks like he's just buying time. And now White decides to go on an attack. Time Suchi. He just played it. because he knew exactly what his opponent was going to respond with, but he wants to reset Byoyomi so he has more time to think. So white attacks the only weak black group on the board, which are these 3 stones. Now, is it very weak? Not too weak. I mean, we can see an obvious connection that's nearby here at J5 here, right? So that's pretty obvious. But it's not quite connected yet, so, you know, there's hope. Might make a few points there. Black says, alright, cut through me, I'll cut through you, and then we're even. How's that? White says, no, 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 I want to keep connected there, thank you. So, got some strength there from that forcing move. Black attaches. White connects underneath. Bit of an unusual move, but I really like what black is doing. Because he's doing something that I don't know if I would have thought to really do this. Especially when we can see that white's pretty close to having an eye here. Our stone's pretty close to being dead in the middle. This should be, it seems that this should really be able to live so easily. I mean, kind of got that eye there. Our stone's going to die in one more move. I don't know. Can we really attack that group? Black says, meh. Doesn't have 2 eyes yet. It's attackable. And so he's getting influence to do just that. And White's responding because he likes his territory. And now that he ran out of forcing moves, he immediately moves to begin poking out those eyes. Suddenly, what was a weak group of black, the one that was over here, the only group that black had that was weak, the only one that white could attack, has suddenly gained all of this strength and is now attacking this group of whites, which feels like it should have been fine. So I have to love that too. So white plays a little bit loosely, trying to get some shape for himself. He's like, no, 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 no. If I respond here, you're going to harass me and harass me and harass me, and then I'm not going to have any shape, and I'm dead. That's going to suck. So, have to let those stones go. I'm going to play lightly, see if I can get my eyes in the middle. Black says, nom 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 nom. Taking some profit for himself. Well, I ignored D13. Well, if you ignore D13, you are being reduced when black turns. That right there is, a bit of profit. Because then, how is endgame going to go? If black comes down through here, then, these probably aren't going to be points. There's, depending on who gets an endgame, then that could really, really shrink. I mean, is this going to have to be endgame? Is this going to be endgame? I mean, it's worth quite a few points. So, white says, no problem, no problem. You were weak here, I'm still gonna kill you. So he cuts. And we can see this looks like a really good move. I mean, this, if cut off, which now it is, where is this going to connect to? Clear over to K13? That doesn't seem very good. That seems really, really difficult to do. And what about the middle? Not the middle, the bottom half of the group. Where's that going to go to? That seems like it's going to go, I don't know. Looks like we're getting black 2 weak groups. This should be fine. Black threatens to cut off white stones again, not caring. Applies nice and strong. I think you mean E9, yeah. Then sacrifice the stones. White doesn't take. Steady profits. Grabs a forcing move. Black connects. And grabs his eye. Right. Not bad, not bad. Looks like we're getting the life that we need here. Got himself an eye. That stone at K10, or yeah, K10, there are so many white stones around it. I mean, there's one blocking its immediate run. There's another one down there at F7, probably gonna die. So white takes his profit. That's a bit of a greedy move, because this was never going to not connect. Even if he connects, even if D6 is played by black, can still connect under, and we're still getting some territory. But now, trying to get that extra, and we're betting we're not going to die here. But this is Lee Sedol. It's like, well, my stone's not dead yet. So I'm going to make it survive. This is really, really large. Because now, if black gets to push through there, that one eye is gone. Have to connect. It's going to be an Atari, and then an Atari, and there's a lot of bad things happening. So black gets to push, and this is slowly unraveling. Black connects. White connects. Black's now alive with his original stone. So white gets some shape. Still doesn't look like this is going to die just yet. I mean, he's got one eye. He's still making shape. We can cut off black on the left. Keep in mind, black on the left is not alive yet either. It has one eye. And I think Gote to, no. Probably Sente to cut off. But white's still not alive yet. So, tries to attack. White says, you're in danger too. You're not connected. Prepares to cut. And this is interesting. Common, just trying to get the Atari to cut off black. Black takes. White can, or black can defend. Or can connect, or he can lose his stones. Doesn't want to lose his stones. Gonna definitely Atari. Sorry, comments. Why not black J13? J13. Oh, if you play J13... I see what you're saying. Why not just do this instead? Well, problem here is... this is still going to be a problem potentially later. Moves like this are going to be a problem later because he's threatening the eyes again. He wanted to get rid of the shape there. Well, white's gonna get cut, or white's cutting regardless, because even if you play this, you know, there's still the Atari, so you're still gonna be cut off from the left-hand stone. So, Atari, probably another time Suji, I think. Doesn't really have any bearing on this battle, this particular cut point. Black takes. And white threatens two eyes. Not a bad way. Trying to force, trying to get another eye for himself. trying to make sure that this is Sente that black has to take. Otherwise, you know, something of black's is going to die. But black immediately pokes. Because it does not matter if that's extended, and he takes the G14 stone here, if black gets to cut through. That's still all dead. So that's not going to work. Threatens to poke at an eye. Black surrounds. Now we're in life and death. Bye-bye eye. And white resign. Or wait, no, not yet. Sorry. Almost missed something. As you can see, though, it's a bit of a problem for white rather, because with one move, black can have an eye, and white right now has none. So that's a mild problem. White cuts, forcing black to live. Unfortunately, it's not all that difficult for black to live, especially since that is now Sente. He gets to take his eye in Sente, otherwise he's going to cut, and that's no good. So connects there. White extends, but doesn't go anywhere. So white resigns. He has no eyes. He cannot get any eyes. Black has an eye. He got one in Sente. So that was all there is to that. Questions. White fell behind in the early game. No, this is even. Even this doesn't seem like a particularly bad idea. I mean, I'm actually used to this. I'm actually kind of used to this variation. That's kind of why I avoid it. I mean, I see it more in more with this, which is why I pretty much don't split this way anymore, because I expect every single time for my opponent to push this way now. And see this sort of thing? I mean, it's playable, but it's annoying. I don't think he's behind just yet. I think he handled this pretty well. I think what it came down to was that attack on the left. And maybe handling this differently. Not being able to settle these middle stones really, really hurt him. But what else could he do? He was able to settle this out pretty well. He took and he was fine. I think here he's still okay. Yeah, I think white was okay. His attack on the left, though, just went about as wrong for him as he could possibly have predicted. I mean, he got some influence. He saw a weak group that he can attack. He attacked it, and then he died. Like, what? How did that happen? I attack weak group. I get killed. Yeah, the top right is huge. That is true. But what he could have done differently there, I'm not entirely certain. Yeah, he just knows what isn't alive yet, and he's completely happy with going after it. Trading corners just to be able to attack that middle? Yeah, sure, fine. Buy territory. Didn't want you anyway. No, give you all up to attack those 3 stones in the middle and hope I can profit there. No problem. But he knows he can do it. He knows his fighting is scary. Yep. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. I certainly like looking at fighting games like this. But yes, I'll have another lecture week after next, as usual. No idea what I'll be going over there yet, but when I know, I suppose you will as well. So until then, hope you all have a good week, and I will see you all next time. Oh, one other thing I should point out, those of you who have not realized it yet, I did put up another 5-dan game. This one was played on IGS, not Taigem. I've been meaning to do an IGS series for a long time. Part of the reason why I have not done a 5-dan game lately is because IGS frustrated me into not wanting to even try because it's ridiculously difficult to get a game there with proper settings that I'm not going to lose on time with. I tried to start it at 3-dan like I always have been doing, Robert, but everyone wants either like 1/15 or 1/5. Well, you do the math. How many moves, on average, how many seconds per move do you have in a 1/5? The answer's not good. That's just straight up blitzgo. Exactly. That's way too short. I need about 1/10, 1/8 or 9 seems to be okay, and 1/15, where way too many people want to do, is entirely too long. So I need this like slim setting of 1/8 to 10 in order to actually do a move, to do a game rather, and it's just entirely too difficult to actually get it there. So yeah.